In the week ahead, we have a series of storm complexes that will be impacting the Pacific Northwest with very heavy rain, especially along the coast. And then some mountain snows will sneak inland with a warm week ahead for the lower 48. But big changes arrive for the weekend with a stronger cold front. And by next Monday morning, some areas across the southeast could see their first freeze of the season. But to kick off the week, it's all about the jet stream. And here it's well to the north for the week ahead. That promotes a zonal flow underneath. That is a warm flow coming off the Pacific. So I'm expecting very warm conditions for November-like standards. But it's all about the Pacific Northwest. We'll be seeing a series of storm complexes that will be bringing heavy rains across Washington and Oregon and Northern California, and then by Wednesday, especially into Thursday, a much stronger system. But there is your warmer week. So the temperatures are going to be well above average, easily 10 to 15 degrees above average for a good part of the Southwest, much of the central and southern plains, back into the southeast, and even portions of the Ohio Valley as well. It's this colder pocket of air that's bottled up to the north all week long, but by the time we head into the weekend, that will finally be diving southbound. So, but overall, it's going to be a drier week, right? With the Pacific jet extension in place and that southwest wind for much of the country. Yeah, you're going to be looking at warmer conditions and drier conditions. It's really not it's not until the corner states, basically the Pacific Northwest, we'll be seeing those series of storm complexes. Washington and Oregon, places like Seattle could be picking up several inches of rain, all the way down into Portland. And then further south, once you get into Medford, we're talking upwards to 8 inches potentially over the course of the week. And then course down by the Bay Area, even a couple of inches for them. But we'll also be watching the northwest flow as well into the New England region. That's where we'll be seeing some elevated rain showers across this region, and then we'll have a reinforcing shot as we head into the weekend. But overall, even going through Tuesday, there's your storm systems, right? There's really not much to talk about besides those really high impacted areas into the Pacific Northwest. And by the time we head into Wednesday, there is the bigger feature that will be impacting the West Coast. So this could be bringing some high winds. You definitely see those tight isobars really starting to tighten up there, as the power outages will likely unfold as we head in deeper into the day on Wednesday, but especially during the day on Thursday. And we'll talk in almost record high temperatures for some regions, especially as we head into Wednesday. We're talking widespread 80s for Texas, if not approaching 90 degrees further south into South Texas. Widespread 70s across the middle part of the country. Really doesn't get into the 50s or 60s until you get well north into Iowa, back into Minnesota. But even for them, that's still about 10 degrees above average, where you would typically be this time of year. And there's the atmospheric river that will be pummeling the West Coast, especially as we head into Wednesday. We're talking areas of 3, 4, upwards to almost 500% above normal precipitation for this time of year. So that definitely means some heavy flooding rains potentially in those areas that I mentioned, and especially in Oregon and Northern California. They seem to take the brunt of this bigger system that will be coming in on Wednesday heading into the week ahead. And there's your high winds, right? So we could be looking at some 50, 60, even upwards to 70 mile per hour winds is definitely not out of the question with that bigger system, especially heading into Thursday. Lighter winds as we swing further inland. And then once you hit the middle part of the country, it meets that ridge of high pressure and just meets that sinking air, and everything just kind of falls apart, if you will. until you get to the northwest. So, but there's your mountain snows. We are going to be looking at some higher winds along the coastal regions, like I mentioned. But then once some of that colder air mixes in, that won't be likely until Wednesday, but especially into Thursday, then the mountain snows will really start to add up. Some of those higher elevations with all the moisture content to work with. We're talking feet of snow into some of the northern Cascade regions. And then once you swing into areas of Glacier National Park, areas in Montana, we could be looking at some higher snow totals as well. Higher elevations upwards to 5,000 feet and up, and then swing further south into Idaho as well as into Wyoming as well. But it's all about these series of storm complexes that will be draped across the northern regions, as we'll be looking at some heavier rains along the coast, Pacific Northwest and the Northeast regions. In the middle part of the country, pretty high and dry, not really until later in the week. So there's Friday, right? It's a warm week, folks. No two ways to explain it. Much of the lower 48 is going to be well above average with that Pacific jet extension, the southwest winds in place. And you're definitely going to be feeling it. It's nicer weather. Warm above average for November is essentially kind of nice weather, if you will. But some people want the cold this time of year. But you will get some colder air. You just have to wait till the weekend and heading into early next week. But it's a dry week. This is between now and the weekend ahead. Yeah, we're talking pretty clear skies across abundance amount of sunshine across the Southwest, much of the southern and central plains. There's your heavier rains that will likely unfold for the Pacific Northwest, adding up those totals in Washington and Oregon and Northern California. Lighter amounts as you swing inland, but some of this will transfer over into the form of snow. And there's those systems that will likely be impacting New England. And then we'll have a second system that will swing a little bit further south heading into Thursday and Friday for areas of Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, portions of Kentucky, and then some more rains back into Pennsylvania, upstate New York, and along the coastal regions as well. Further south in the southeast under that ridge will be more or less high and dry. But there's the colder shot of air, that bottled colder air that I showed you at the beginning of the video further north into Canada will be sinking southbound by the weekend, especially into Sunday. This is Sunday afternoon, and these are temperatures aloft about 5,000 feet. So a lot of that will be sinking down to the surface. So your winds will start to elevate as well. So the wind chills, you're really going to be feeling the wind chills in a big way on Sunday with this colder shot of air. This is likely the coldest shot of the season that we've experienced so far. And there are your wind chills. This is Sunday afternoon, folks. Yes, that's not a misprint. That's in the 20s. So different stage of what we're going to be experiencing most all week long. Winter is going to be setting in as we head into Sunday with those feels like temperatures dropping in the 20s for Sunday afternoon back into Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, as well as in Ohio. You're going to be really feeling this colder shot of air in a big way for Sunday afternoon, and some of your areas into Sunday night could sneak out some wet snowflakes. Definitely not out of the questions in the Appalachians. We're talking northeastern portions of Tennessee, back into areas of Kentucky, West Virginia, portions of Ohio. Not out of the question. Some of those higher elevations in New England to get some wet snowflakes out of this deal once that colder air mixes in with that air mass. And there is your actual temperatures heading into next Monday. So if you like the cold, you're going to have to wait about a week. If you like the warmth, you're going to be really enjoying the week ahead with the abundant amount of heat in place for November standards. And then the colder shot of air will come in. And by next Monday, these are actual temperatures, folks. Now we're talking not just wind chills, but actual temperatures with a hard freeze in place for the Dakotas through Nebraska, Iowa, areas of Kansas, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, back into Pennsylvania, even further south into Kentucky. We're talking a freeze sneaking in even into northern Arkansas, northern portions of Oklahoma, and then areas across Tennessee as well. Even maybe northern portions of Mississippi and Alabama could be on the freezing line as temperatures will start to plummet as we head into Sunday and really start to bottom out as we head into early next week. So guys, I appreciate you watching. Do like this video. Definitely hit the subscribe button and catch the next update while I protect you before and after the storm.